Listen to me. God doesn't leave you in the dark. He doesn't let you walk blindfolded into the arms of the wrong people. He sees what you cannot see. He hears the whispers behind your back. He knows the weight of betrayal before you ever feel it. And because he loves you, he sends you signs, clear, undeniable warnings when someone is in your life for the wrong reasons. But here's the problem. Many people ignore these signs. They brush them off. They make excuses. They hold on to toxic people thinking love, loyalty, or time will change them. But let me tell you something. When God shows you someone's true nature, believe him. Because if you don't, you'll end up heartbroken, drained, and lost in a mess you were never meant to be in. So pay attention. I'm about to show you 8 dark signals that God will reveal when someone in your life has bad intentions. And if you recognize even one of these, it's time to stop, step back, and let God handle what you cannot. Number 1, they drain your spirit instead of filling it. Have you ever been around someone who just leaves you feeling exhausted? Not physically, but emotionally, mentally, even spiritually? You walk away from a conversation with them feeling like a weight has been dropped on your shoulders, like your energy has been sucked out of you. It's like no matter how much you pour into them, it's never enough. No matter how much love, time, or encouragement you give, you always end up feeling empty. This is not a coincidence. It's a sign. God did not place people in your life to drain you. He did not call you to relationships, friendships, or connections that leave you feeling depleted and broken. That feeling of exhaustion, that constant heaviness when you're around someone, it's not just in your head. It's your spirit recognizing something is off. It's God's way of telling you that this person may not be meant to stay in your life. You see, the right people, God-ordained people, don't take from you without giving back. They don't use your kindness, your patience, or your love as a limitless resource they can keep consuming without ever replenishing. When God sends the right people into your life, they lift you up. They add to you. They bring joy, peace, encouragement, and strength. Even in difficult seasons, even when times are hard, they don't take more than they give. They don't leave you running on empty. But when someone has bad intentions, when they are selfish, when they are only looking out for themselves, they will take everything you offer and still make you feel like it's not enough. You could move mountains for them and they'll still ask why you didn't move more. You could show up every single time they call and they'll still find a way to make you feel guilty for not doing more. These people are not a blessing. They are a burden. And when you feel that burden, don't ignore it. Many times we hold on to people who drain us because we think it's our job to fix them. We think if we just love them enough, if we're patient enough, if we pour enough good into them, they will change. But listen to me. It is not your job to be someone's savior. That is God's job. And the longer you hold on to someone God is trying to remove, the more you will suffer. There are people who come into your life pretending to care, pretending to love, pretending to be a friend. But in reality, they are only there to take. And here's how you'll know. You will always feel like you're running on fumes. You'll start noticing that your joy is fading, your peace is shrinking, your energy is constantly low, and no matter what you do, you never feel refueled. You pray for them, but they don't pray for you. You encourage them, but they never encourage you. You fight for them, but they never fight for you. That is not balance. That is a one-sided relationship. And one-sided relationships will always leave you broken. Now, here's where most people struggle. Letting go. We want to believe the best in people. We want to assume that deep down they mean well. But let me tell you something. When someone consistently drains your spirit, when someone repeatedly takes without giving, when someone pulls you away from your peace and your joy, that is not love. That is not friendship. That is not God's will for your life. God is not the author of confusion. God is not the source of chaos. So if someone's presence in your life is making you feel confused, anxious, constantly tired, or emotionally overwhelmed, that is not a relationship sent by God. That is a distraction, a test, or even worse, a trap set by the enemy to keep you from becoming who you were meant to be. Let's be real. There are people in this world who thrive on draining others. They don't even do it consciously sometimes, but it's in their nature. They look for kind-hearted, generous, patient people, and they attach themselves like a parasite. They will take your light, your love, your kindness, and they will never once think about how much it's costing you. These people will use you until there is nothing left. They will manipulate your kindness, guilt, trip you into staying, and make you feel responsible for their happiness while they do absolutely nothing to contribute to yours. And God is warning you, every time you feel that heaviness, every time you feel that exhaustion, every time you walk away from them feeling like something inside of you is missing, that is God whispering, pay attention. You deserve relationships that build you up. You deserve people in your life who bring you peace, who make you stronger, who add to your faith, not drain it. But in order to receive that, you have to be willing to let go of those who are keeping you stuck. I know it's hard. I know it hurts. But listen, if you do not remove the wrong people from your life, God will do it for you. And when He does, it will be painful. It will feel like a storm. It will feel like everything is falling apart. But really, it's Him saving you from something you were too afraid to walk away from. So today, I want you to ask yourself, who in my life is draining me? Who leaves me feeling worse, not better? Who do I keep making excuses for, even though I know deep down they are taking more than they give? And when God gives you the answer, don't fight it. Don't ignore it. Don't hold on out of fear or guilt. Because the truth is, God will never take something away without replacing it with something better. He will never ask you to let go of someone without already having someone greater in store. So if someone is draining your spirit, if someone is taking your joy, if someone is constantly leaving you feeling empty, it's time to let them go. And when you do, when you finally release them, you will feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Peace. And that peace is your confirmation that you made the right choice. Number 2, their words sound right, but their actions betray them. Words are easy. Anyone can say the right thing. Anyone can promise loyalty, love, and honesty. But what happens when those words don't match the actions? What happens when someone looks you in the eye, tells you they care, tells you they're there for you, but when it's time to show up, they're nowhere to be found? Listen to me. God is showing you something. People will tell you everything you want to hear. They will speak in ways that make you believe they are good for you. They will use the right words, the right tone, the right timing to convince you they mean well. But words are just words. Words can be rehearsed. Words can be manipulated. But actions? Actions don't lie. Jesus said in Matthew 7:16, you will know them by their fruits. Not their words, not their promises, their fruits. That means their actions, their behaviors, the way they treat you when they think no one is watching. That's what tells you who they really are. Think about it. How many times has someone told you they loved you, but their actions made you feel unloved? How many times has someone told you they were loyal, but the moment things got hard, they disappeared? How many times has someone told you they were different, that they would never hurt you like others did, but in the end, they did the exact same thing? That wasn't an accident. That wasn't a misunderstanding. That was a pattern. A pattern God was trying to warn you about. You see, when someone has bad intentions, they will always use words as a mask. They will say exactly what you need to hear to keep you attached. They will make you believe in a future that was never real. They will promise you things they have no intention of fulfilling. And for a while, you might believe them. You might convince yourself, maybe I'm being too hard on them. Maybe they really do care. Maybe if I just wait a little longer, they'll prove me wrong. But let me tell you something. When someone truly cares, you won't have to guess. You won't have to overthink. You won't have to constantly compare what they say to what they do, because their words and their actions will always align. If someone tells you they respect you but constantly cross your boundaries, they don't respect you. If someone tells you they love you but constantly hurt you without remorse, they don't love you. If someone tells you they're loyal but their actions are inconsistent, they are not loyal. Harsh? Maybe, but it's the truth. And the truth will set you free. One of the biggest mistakes people make is giving more weight to words than actions. We fall for sweet talk, for empty promises, for grand speeches about love and loyalty, but we ignore the moments that prove otherwise. We dismiss the red flags. We tell ourselves, they didn't mean it. They were just having a bad day. They'll change. But the reality is, you don't have to explain away the actions of someone who genuinely cares about you. And let me say this, the enemy knows how to use words too. The devil didn't come to Eve with force. He came with words, smooth words, clever words, deceptive words. And he's still doing the same thing today, using people who say one thing but do another, leading you further from your peace, your purpose, and your discernment. That's why God allows certain people to reveal themselves. That's why he lets time expose what words tried to hide. That's why the truth always comes out even when you don't want to see it. It's his way of protecting you, his way of guiding you, his way of saying, I heard what they said, but did you see what they did? So let me ask you, who in your life is showing you their true colors, but you keep ignoring it? Who keeps making promises they don't keep? Who keeps telling you they're different, but their actions look just like the people who hurt you before? Stop making excuses for them. Stop hoping that one day their words will magically start matching their actions. Because the truth is, if they wanted to, they already would have. Love, respect, loyalty. These things don't need to be forced. They don't need to be begged for. They are shown naturally through actions, not just words. I know it's hard. I know it hurts when someone's actions don't reflect what you wanted to believe about them. But listen, God will never let deception last forever. He will always give you signs. He will always show you the truth. The question is, will you listen? Will you trust what God is revealing? Will you have the strength to stop holding on to empty words and start paying attention to real actions? Because at the end of the day, words will fade. Promises will break. But actions will always tell you the truth. Number 3, they manipulate you into feeling guilty for setting boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors with locks. Doors that you get to open or close based on who respects you, who honors your space, and who truly values your well-being. But let me tell you something. People with bad intentions hate boundaries. They hate when you draw a line in the sand. They hate when you tell them, no, I won't tolerate this. They hate when you finally decide to put yourself first, because it means they can no longer control you. Listen to me. God is showing you something. A person with a pure heart will respect your boundaries. They will honor your needs, your space, your emotional well-being. But a person with bad intentions, they will make you feel guilty for having boundaries in the first place. They will twist the truth. They will flip the script. They will make you feel like you are the problem for standing up for yourself. Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever said, I can't keep allowing this behavior in my life, only to hear, wow, so you're just going to throw me away like that? Have you ever set a limit only for them to say, you're being selfish, you don't care about me at all? Have you ever tried to walk away from a toxic situation only for them to cry, beg, guilt trip, and suddenly act like the victim? That's not love. That's manipulation. And manipulation is one of the most dangerous tactics the enemy uses to keep you trapped in situations that are draining your spirit. It's designed to keep you feeling obligated to stay, afraid to walk away, and guilty for prioritizing your peace. But let me remind you of something. God did not call you to be a prisoner to someone else's dysfunction. Jesus set boundaries. Did you hear me? Jesus himself set boundaries. There were times when he withdrew from the crowds to pray alone, times when he told people no, times when he walked away from those who did not honor his presence. So if Jesus, the Son of God, understood the importance of boundaries, why do you feel guilty for setting yours? You see, people with bad intentions don't actually want a relationship with you. They want access to you. They want access to your kindness, your time, your energy, your resources, but on their terms. The moment you try to reclaim control over your own life, they start gaslighting you. They make you question yourself. They make you wonder, am I being too harsh? Am I being unreasonable? Maybe I should just let this slide. But listen, God gave you discernment for a reason. When someone consistently drains you, disrespects you, or crosses lines that you clearly set, that is not a misunderstanding. That is a pattern. A pattern meant to keep you exhausted, confused, and too emotionally worn out to break free. And the longer you tolerate it, the harder it becomes to escape. The enemy loves to use guilt as a weapon. Guilt will make you stay in relationships that are killing your spirit. Guilt will make you accept behaviors that go against your values. Guilt will make you prioritize someone else's comfort over your own well-being. But let me make this clear. Having boundaries is not selfish. Prioritizing your peace is not wrong. Walking away from people who mistreat you is not a sin. It is necessary. Think about the people in your life right now. Who gets upset when you start valuing yourself? Who makes you feel guilty when you say, I can't do this anymore? Who tries to manipulate you into staying in a place that is draining your soul? That is your answer. That is the sign God is showing you. That is the red flag waving in your face. That is God saying, I did not create you to live in a cycle of guilt and manipulation. I created you to walk in freedom. So let me ask you, are you going to listen? Or are you going to keep letting someone else dictate how much of yourself you are allowed to protect? Because at the end of the day, the only people who get upset about your boundaries are the ones who benefited from you not having any. Number 4, you start drifting away from God. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly felt close to God? When was the last time you prayed? Not out of desperation, but out of devotion. When was the last time you sat in stillness, feeling his presence, knowing he was guiding you? Now, let me ask you something else. Who came into your life and changed that? Because let me tell you this, when someone with bad intentions enters your life, one of the biggest signs God will show you is distance. Not distance from them, but distance from him. It doesn't happen all at once. No, the enemy is much smarter than that. It starts small. You wake up, and instead of praying first thing in the morning, you check your phone. You stop reading your Bible because you're too busy dealing with the chaos they bring. You start skipping church, not because you don't believe anymore, but because you're too tired from all the drama, all the stress, all the emotional exhaustion that comes with this person's presence in your life. And slowly, without even realizing it, you begin drifting. You start relying more on your emotions than your faith. You start asking for their validation instead of seeking God's approval. You start compromising on your values, on your standards, on your relationship with the Lord, just to keep the peace with someone who was never sent by him in the first place. And deep down, you feel it. You feel that void, that emptiness. You feel like something is missing, but you can't quite put your finger on it. You feel the anxiety creeping in, the heaviness on your spirit, the constant feeling that something just isn't right. Let me tell you what that is. That is God calling you back. That is God saying, my child, where are you? Come back to me. That is God showing you that the relationship, the friendship, the connection you are fighting so hard to hold on to is the very thing pulling you away from him. And listen, anything that pulls you away from God is not from God. I don't care how much history you have with this person. I don't care how much you love them. I don't care how much they claim to love you. If their presence in your life is leading you further away from your faith, further away from your purpose, further away from the peace you once had with God, that is a warning sign. And you have to make a choice. Because here's the truth. The enemy doesn't always come as a loud, obvious temptation. Sometimes he comes as a person who slowly, subtly disconnects you from your source. He comes as someone who drains you so much that you don't even have the energy to pray. He comes as someone who fills your mind with so much confusion that you stop hearing God's voice. He comes as someone who takes up so much of your heart that there's no more room left for God. And if you don't recognize it in time, you will wake up one day and realize you are so far from him that you don't even know how you got there. But let me remind you, God never moves. He is still there, waiting, watching, calling you back. And he is showing you this sign not to punish you, but to protect you, to wake you up before it's too late, to remind you that no relationship is worth losing your relationship with him. So if you feel that distance, if you feel like your spirit isn't as strong as it used to be, if you feel like your connection with God has weakened, if you feel like your peace, your joy, your faith has been shaken ever since this person entered your life, pay attention, because that is God speaking to you. And the question is, are you listening? Number 5, they celebrate your failures and envy your success. Let me tell you something. Real love, real friendship, real loyalty is revealed in 2 moments: when you fail and when you succeed. Watch how people react when you fall, and watch how they respond when you rise. That will tell you everything you need to know. Someone with a pure heart will support you when you're struggling, and they will celebrate you when you're thriving. But someone with bad intentions, oh, they're different. They smile to your face, but deep down, your success bothers them. They act concerned when you fail, but behind closed doors, they're secretly glad that you didn't make it. And let me tell you, God sees what you don't. You ever notice how some people seem a little too happy when things aren't going well for you? They say things like, "Oh man, that's rough." They're not really comforting you. They're not offering help. They're not praying for you. They're just watching, silently satisfied that you're struggling. That's not a friend. That's an enemy in disguise. And what about when you start winning? When God starts blessing you, when doors start opening, when your hard work finally pays off? Watch how they react. Do they celebrate you the way you celebrate them? Do they encourage you the way you encourage them? Do they uplift you, or do they suddenly grow distant, quiet, uninterested? That silence is louder than words. Because here's the truth. Jealousy can't be hidden forever. People can pretend to support you. They can pretend to be happy for you. But when real success enters the picture, their true colors will come out. They might try to downplay your achievements. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. They might remind you of all the times you failed. Well, let's see if you can keep it up this time. They might even act like you're changing. But you're different now. You think you're better than us. No, you're not different. You're growing. And they can't stand it because your success shines a light on their insecurity. Your ambition reminds them of their own lack of discipline. Your elevation makes them uncomfortable because it forces them to face the fact that they're staying the same. And listen to me. God is showing you this for a reason. Because not everyone who started with you is meant to finish with you. Not everyone who claps for you is actually happy for you. Some people only love you when you're losing. Because as long as you're struggling, they don't feel threatened. As long as you're beneath them, they feel superior. But the moment you start walking in your purpose, the moment you start operating in your God-given potential, the moment you rise, they can't handle it. They will distance themselves. They will find reasons to be upset with you. They will start talking behind your back. And some will even try to sabotage you. But let me make something clear. You don't need them. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. You don't need to dim your light just to make them comfortable. Because the truth is, God didn't bless you for them. He blessed you for you. He is elevating you because you were faithful. He is promoting you because you put in the work. He is making a way for you because you refuse to give up. So don't you dare apologize for your success. Don't shrink yourself to fit into spaces that can't handle your greatness. If God is revealing jealous, envious, fake people in your life, it's not to hurt you. It's to free you, to remove distractions, to separate you from those who would rather see you fail than watch you succeed. So let them be mad, let them talk, let them walk away. Because when God is taking you to the next level, not everyone can come with you. Number 6, you keep catching them in lies. Let me tell you something. Truth always stands, but lies always crumble. A person with good intentions has no reason to deceive you. They have no reason to twist the truth, to manipulate facts, or to leave out key details just to control the way you see things. But someone with bad intentions, lies are their foundation. And if God keeps allowing you to catch them in lies, that is not a coincidence. That is not just a misunderstanding. That is not something you should brush off. That is God revealing the truth right in front of your eyes. At first, the lies seem small. Maybe they tell you they were somewhere, but you find out they were somewhere else. Maybe they exaggerate a story to make themselves look better. Maybe they tell you something that doesn't quite add up, but you give them the benefit of the doubt because you want to believe them. But then it happens again and again and again. And each time you get that feeling in your gut that something isn't right, that something isn't adding up, that they are not being completely honest with you. And let me tell you something. That feeling is God speaking to you. That's your discernment, your spiritual warning system, alerting you that something is off. That's God showing you that this person is not who they pretend to be. Because let me tell you how the enemy works. He will send people into your life who are masters at deception. People who can lie to your face without blinking. People who are so good at twisting words that they can make you question your own reality. People who are not just lying with their words, but with their actions, their intentions, and their very presence in your life. And if you are not careful, you will let your emotions override your discernment. You will ignore the red flags because you don't want to believe that this person is capable of deception. You will convince yourself that you're overthinking, that you're being paranoid, that maybe it's not that big of a deal. But listen to me. God doesn't expose lies for no reason. If he is allowing you to see the truth, it's because he wants to protect you. If he is giving you clear signs that this person is dishonest, it's because he doesn't want you building trust on a foundation of deceit. Because once a person proves to you that they can lie, once they show you that honesty is not their priority, once they make it clear that they care more about protecting their image than protecting your trust, you have a decision to make. Do you keep ignoring the signs, knowing that the lies will only continue? Do you keep hoping they will change, even though they've already shown you who they are? Do you keep justifying their behavior, even though God has already revealed the truth? Or do you listen to what God is showing you and walk away? Because here's the truth. If someone is comfortable lying to you, they are comfortable betraying you. If they lie about small things, they will lie about big things. If they lie to avoid accountability, they will lie to avoid consequences. If they lie to protect themselves, they will lie to manipulate you. And the longer you allow it, the more they will test how much they can get away with. The more they will assume that you won't hold them accountable. The more they will push the limits. Until one day, you wake up and realize that the person you trusted was never trustworthy at all. So if you keep catching them in lies, pay attention. That is not just a red flag. That is God warning you loud and clear. That is Him showing you that this person does not deserve access to your heart, your mind, or your trust. That is Him telling you the truth. What are you going to do with it? Because at the end of the day, lies don't just destroy trust, they destroy relationships. They destroy peace. They destroy your ability to see clearly. And if you allow a liar to stay in your life, you will find yourself constantly doubting, constantly questioning, constantly trying to figure out what's real and what's not. And that is not the life God wants for you. God is truth. He moves in truth. And anyone who operates in lies is moving in the opposite direction of Him. So listen to what God is showing you. Believe what He is revealing. And don't let your emotions keep you tied to someone who has already broken your trust. Because a relationship built on lies will never lead to a future filled with truth. Number 7, you feel an unshakable discomfort around them. Let me tell you something. Your spirit knows before your mind does. That uneasy feeling you get when you're around someone, that tightness in your chest, that voice in the back of your mind whispering, something isn't right. That's not paranoia. That's not overthinking. That's God speaking to you. When someone has bad intentions, when their heart is not pure, when they are secretly working against you instead of for you, your spirit feels it. Your soul senses it. Your discernment picks it up before your mind can even put it into words. You may not be able to explain it. You may not have proof. But deep down, something inside you is uneasy. You don't feel peace when you're around them. You feel drained. You feel anxious. You feel like you can't fully relax. Like you always have to be on guard. Like there's an invisible wall between you and them. Even if you've known them for years, that's not normal. That's not something you should ignore. That's a warning. Because let me tell you, God did not design relationships to feel like a battlefield. He did not create friendships to feel like a weight on your soul. The people God sends into your life will bring peace, not confusion. They will bring clarity, not chaos. They will bring comfort, not tension. But when someone is not meant for you, when someone is moving in deception, when someone has hidden motives, when someone is carrying a spirit that is in conflict with yours, your soul will reject it. You will feel off when you're around them. You will feel uneasy even when everything looks fine on the surface. And if you ignore that feeling, if you keep pushing it down, if you keep telling yourself that you're just imagining things, you are ignoring one of the greatest warnings God can give you. Because listen to me, God protects before He exposes. A lot of times we want proof. We want a clear reason. We want something undeniable before we walk away. But God doesn't always work like that. Sometimes He won't let you feel peace around someone because He knows something you don't. He sees what they do when you're not looking. He hears the conversations you'll never hear. He knows what's in their heart, even if their words sound perfect. And so He speaks to you through your spirit. He makes their presence feel heavy. He makes their energy feel unsettling. He makes you feel tired, drained, anxious, or even fearful when you're around them. And if you're not careful, you'll ignore it. You'll push through it. You'll convince yourself that you're just being negative or too sensitive, but you are not too sensitive. You are spiritually awake because, listen, when you walk with God, your spirit is connected to Him. And anything that is not of Him, anything that is moving in the opposite direction, anything that carries deception, manipulation, or darkness, your spirit will react That's why when you try to pray about them, you feel blocked. That's why when you think about your future with them, something doesn't sit right. That's why no matter how hard you try, you can't shake the feeling that something is off. And let me tell you, that feeling is not going away. You can ignore it, you can suppress it, you can pretend everything is fine, but sooner or later, the truth will come to light. Because here's the thing about God. He does not let his children walk blindly into danger. If you are his, if you are seeking him, if you are asking him for guidance, he will warn you. And sometimes that warning comes in the form of an unshakable discomfort. So what are you going to do? Are you going to wait until they betray you? Are you going to wait until they cause damage that could have been prevented? Are you going to wait until their true colors are, or are you going to trust what God is showing you now? Because here's the truth. You don't need to wait for proof. You don't need to wait for things to go wrong. You don't need to wait until they hurt you beyond repair. If God is making you feel uneasy about someone, that is reason enough to walk away. You don't owe them an explanation. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to make sense of it to anyone else. Because at the end of the day, your peace is your confirmation. And if their presence steals your peace, that is all the proof you need. Number 8, there pulls you away from your purpose. Listen to me. When God places a purpose over your life, when he gives you a calling, when he sets a path before you, the enemy will send distractions. And most of the time, those distractions don't come in the form of obvious enemies. They don't come disguised as storms and disasters. They come disguised as people who seem supportive but secretly plant seeds of doubt. People who pretend to care but slowly pull you away from your vision. People who don't directly tell you to stop, but somehow when you're around them, you lose your motivation, your focus, your drive. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed how there are certain people in your life that make you feel like you're drifting? You used to wake up with clarity, with discipline, with a fire inside you, but now you feel lost, unmotivated, uncertain about the very things God already confirmed for you. Pay attention. That is not a coincidence. Because when God has a plan for your life, the enemy has a strategy to stop it. And sometimes that strategy isn't to attack you directly. It's simply to send someone who will slowly pull you away from your assignment. Not all distractions feel like distractions at first. Some of them feel like friendship. Some of them feel like love. Some of them feel like companionship in your loneliest seasons. But over time, you start noticing the shift. You stop praying as much. You stop dreaming as boldly. You stop pursuing the things that once set your soul on fire. You start questioning yourself, doubting yourself, feeling like maybe you're not capable, maybe you're not ready, maybe you're just imagining the vision God placed in your heart. Let me tell you something. The people God sends will push you toward your purpose, not away from it. They will encourage you. They will remind you who you are. They will speak life into you when you feel weak. They will hold you accountable when you start slipping. But when someone is not meant to be in your life, when someone is operating under a spirit that is not aligned with God's plan for you, they will distract you. They will confuse you. They will plant fear where God planted faith. They will introduce doubt where God gave you confirmation. And if you're not careful, if you don't recognize what's happening, you will start to shrink. You will start to settle. You will start to silence yourself, to hold back, to stay in spaces that no longer align with the future God is calling you into. And that is dangerous. Because let me tell you something, your destiny is too important. Your assignment is too great. The purpose God has placed inside of you is too powerful for you to let the wrong people pull you off course. You don't have time to waste. God has things for you to do, places for you to go, lives for you to impact. He has a version of you that is waiting on the other side of your obedience. And the more time you spend around people who are pulling you away from that, the further you get from the life you were created for. So what do? You wake up. You stop making excuses for people who are keeping you small. You stop clinging to relationships that are no longer serving your spirit. You stop pretending that it's not a big deal when deep down, you know God has been speaking to you about this for a while. And then you separate yourself. You don't need to make a big announcement. You don't need to argue. You don't need to explain yourself over and over again. You simply make a decision to protect your purpose, a decision to guard your spirit, a decision to align yourself with people who push you toward God, not away from Him. Because at the end of the day, your future is too valuable to be left in the wrong hands. And if someone's presence is pulling you away from your calling, you already have your answer. I need you to hear me loud and clear. When God shows you the truth about someone, don't argue with Him. Don't negotiate. Don't hold on to them out of fear of loneliness. Because the longer you cling to the wrong people, the longer you delay the blessings God has in store for you. Some people are sent by the enemy to slow you down, distract you, and pull you away from your purpose. But when you recognize the signs, when you listen to the warnings, when you trust what God is revealing, you protect your future. So today, make a choice. Stop excusing toxic people. Stop explaining away the signs. Open your eyes, open your heart, and let God remove who needs to go. Because when the wrong people leave, the right blessings come in. Thank you.